Alright, this is U value calculation. And this is for the case where we have more than one layer. For example, we have 1 over Hi Ri. Actually, this should be I. So that is heat transfer in the white portion. Let's do this. So that is heat transfer in this part. Okay, H value, heat transfer coefficient in this part. That is Hi. So K12. K12 will be what? Where's K12 then? K12 will be that one, the red one. K23 will be that layer. K34 will be outer layer. And HO is heat transfer coefficient outside. So this means if your pipe has several layers, you can do it, right? In the homework, it just has just 2 layers. It has just pipe and insulation layer. Okay? So in the homework, you won't have this term, no that term. Okay? That's in the homework. Alright. We have to have U value at a certain reference radius. UIRI equal to UORO. So if we put outer radius as the reference, that U value is a U value at outer radius. If you use inner radius as a reference, that U is specified at the inner radius. So you see this part? UIRI, or you can do UORO. Okay? When you ask me, this equation has 2 pi, right? 2 pi something. First equation is just U, but it's pi d, so it's the same. So if you ask me, hey, what is that value of d? Is that inner diameter or outer diameter? I will say, whatever diameter that U value is based on. Okay, if that U value is based on outer diameter or outer radius, that d will be outer diameter. Good? Jason, what are you talking about? That? Oh, very good, very good. Alright, how do we calculate H value? We need H value to put it there, right? We need H value to put it over there. To put H value over there, we need Nusselt number formula. Okay? Nusselt number formula. I give you formula for turbulent flow. 2 formula. Formula for laminar flow is not given. Okay, laminar flow is not given. So for laminar flow, you can Google the formula and get it from Wikipedia, but it's somewhat more difficult. For turbulent flow, it's not quite matter what your boundary condition is. For laminar flow, it is. What I just said. Okay. For laminar flow, the pipe, if I have constant temperature like that wall is at a certain temperature all the time. Okay, you have one value. So if that wall, we have constant heat flux coming out, I get another value for Nusselt number. Nusselt number is the comparison between heat through convection and heat through conduction. The formula is HD over K. Okay, that is Nusselt number calculation. For turbulent flow, it depends on Reynolds number and Prandtl number. And Prandtl number is, what is the formula for Prandtl number that you write last time? Do you remember? Who remember that? Mu CP over K. So that's Prandtl number. For oil, it will be more than 7, right? For water, maybe 7 or something. For mercury, it will be less than 1, very small. Okay? So Prandtl number tells us what is the relative conduction when you compare momentum diffusivity and heat diffusivity. If it like transfer momentum better than heat, the value will be high. 200 is okay for oil. It can be 30, 20 or something more than 7. So if it's like 20,000, Prandtl number equal to 20,000 mu Cp over K. So this means either K is very small or mu is very high or Cp is very high, right? So this means you flow it, Prandtl number very high. This means it takes quite a while to transfer the heat, but it takes very quick to transfer momentum. Transfer momentum means when you move one side, another side move. Okay, so it doesn't quite conduct the heat. Once you find all that thing, put the value in, get Nusselt number. D over Z, what is that for? This is for near the inlet, okay, away from the inlet. If your pipe is 100 diameter, for example, you may have to worry about this. Okay. If your pipe is 50 miles, like in the example that we talk about, or in your homework, you don't have to worry anything about that. Right? 50 miles is very long. What that term tells me is, near the inlet, there's an entrance region. So this term typically you consider in the lab. Okay. In the actual field, it can be just gone. Okay. Because the pipe is a lot longer compared to the diameter. So this tells me, hey, Z equals 0. This term becomes infinity, right? This term becomes infinity. So it's very high. Does it mean that we conduct the heat very, very good? Not quite that, because it is infinity only when Z equals to 0. Right? If Z is 1 centimeter, this term is not infinity anymore. But most of the time we don't worry much about entrance effect. This term represents the entrance effect. You most probably worry about fully developed regime or far away from the inlet. So if my pipe is 50 miles, but OD of the pipe is just 2 feet. 2 feet is a lot smaller than 50 miles, right? So this term, we don't have to consider it. Okay? I give you 2 formulas. Which one do you think is more accurate? Top one or bottom one? Or which one is easier to calculate? Ivan. Which one is easier to calculate? Number 1 or number 2? Number 1 is easier to calculate. Which one do you think is more accurate? Number 2 is actually more accurate, but it's a little bit more, right? So to be quick, you may use number 1. If you want to refine your calculation, use number 2. Okay? Alright, you get Nusselt number. After you get Nusselt number, okay, one thing to emphasize is K is thermal conductivity of fluid, not the pipe. Okay? That K is not the value of the pipe. Nusselt number is flow property, not fluid property. Okay, Nusselt number is flow property. You have to flow to have Reynolds number, right? So that thing is for flow property. And this kind of formula is only for turbulent flow. For laminar flow, it's different. Okay. Once we know Nusselt number from this formula, we substitute the D value. That capital D is the diameter that fluid see. Inner diameter. It's not outer diameter, it's inner diameter. K, thermal conductivity of fluid. Then we can calculate H. That H, this is a flow in the pipe, right? That H value, we substitute it back to, let me clear everything. This part. Okay, that is H value. R is radius, is diameter divided by 2. Okay? So I handle that term already. What about other term? K12, R2 over R1. How do I get that? Back. How do I get K12? What is that K? Pipe or fluid?
0, pipe.
Pipe. Thermal conductivity of pipe. 54 or 50 for carbon steel, watt per meter per Kelvin. Okay? So you put about 54 over there. R2 is OD or ID. OD over ID and outer radius divided by inner radius. The ratio is the same. Alright, so the next term that we don't have is outside heat transfer coefficient. How much heat convection happen outside? We have another formula. But before that, this term we talk about it briefly, right? Nusselt number is a comparison between convection and conduction, and that's a formula. Prandtl number is diffusivity, momentum diffusivity divided by heat thermal diffusivity. The unit of diffusivity is meter per second square. So Prandtl number is dimensionless. Nusselt number is dimensionless. K, the unit of K is watt per meter per Kelvin. The unit of H is watt per meter per square per Kelvin. Got it? Yes, you should memorize this. But that's for the exam, and we have exam already. Boundary layer thing. When we talk about boundary layer, in the pipe, the boundary layer is radius of the pipe. Boundary layer theory is for like when we try to compare inviscid flow with viscous flow. Inviscid flow is viscosity equal to 0, no viscosity, like the flow of air. Okay, so when we have inviscid flow of air on top of the table, only the small region next to the table feel the viscosity. So outside, you may think is inviscid, but this part is a viscous flow. That layer is where the velocity profile reach 99% of the bulk fluid velocity. Okay, this layer is the boundary layer thickness for the case of momentum. For the case of temperature, is where temperature reach 99% of the bulk temperature. So in the pipe, it's just everywhere in the pipe see the wall. Okay, so you may say it's a whole diameter. Okay. What happens is this: if we have turbulent flow near the inlet, the velocity profile is flat. Okay, is same velocity everywhere. But inside the pipe, in the middle part, maybe it's still flat. You don't see the wall. The middle part don't see the wall yet. Doesn't feel anything with the wall. And you try to have like 1/7 law over there. After a certain length, then we have some kind of fully developed. Everywhere see the boundary. For the case of laminar flow, is the same. At the inlet, the velocity profile is flat. Right? Everywhere has the same velocity. A little bit in the pipe, in the middle, it doesn't feel the wall yet. But this edge have like parabola shape. And after the Y, you form parabolic velocity profile. Okay? Yes, it is important, especially in the lab. For the case of field, when your pipe length is a lot longer than the pipe diameter, you may just assume fully developed flow. Okay, no worry about developing flow. So this has a discussion about Prandtl number. Okay, more Prandtl number means like different thickness. Okay, so if you have very high Prandtl number, okay, radial temperature and velocity profile for oil case, Prandtl number is a lot more than 1. So boundary layer thickness for the velocity will be thick, but for the temperature will be thin. It has to be very close to the wall to feel the heat, but you can feel the momentum change away from the wall. That's what it means. That's the physical meaning of the Prandtl number. Okay. So if Prandtl number is a lot less than 1, such as mercury, you can feel the temperature far away from the wall, but you have to go close to the wall to feel the impact of momentum. Momentum means at the wall, the velocity is 0, right? No change in velocity. So this is just the physical meaning of Prandtl number. Okay. What about heat transfer coefficient outside? There is another formula for heat transfer coefficient outside? External flow around the pipe. So if I have the pipe, I have air flow around it or water flow around it, I have to calculate Nusselt number. There's C value, Reynolds number, Prandtl number. This time it's another formula, but Prandtl number over there is the Prandtl number of fluid that flow around the pipe. If that fluid is air, that is Prandtl number of air. If that fluid is water, that is Prandtl number of water. Reynolds number is the Reynolds number of fluid that flow around the pipe. It's not Reynolds number of oil, okay? And that C is a constant from the table. So for subsea and air heat transfer, Nusselt number for flow past the pipe is come from the correlation. So for a certain range of Reynolds number, C value and exponent M change, okay? But what if air doesn't move or water doesn't move? Natural convection still happen, okay? If the surrounding water has U value less than, or maybe velocity less than 0.05 meter per second, and for air, velocity less than 0.5 meter per second, even though you don't have wind, you may estimate H sub E or HO, same thing. Heat transfer coefficient of environment be 4 or 200, okay? Watt per meter square per Kelvin. Natural convection in air, natural convection in water. So for water, H sub E is 200, for air is 4. Is this important? Yes. If we have a lot of flow around the pipe, we lose a lot of heat and U value go up, right? U value go up by this term gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But basically, HI, there's a formula. HO, there's a formula. That formula is a causal relationship, okay? Empirical correlationship. From empirical relationship, then we can calculate it. What if the pipe is buried? What if we bury the pipe? Hey, we will help prevent heat loss, right? So if the flow hit directly with the pipe, I lost heat. But if I bury the pipe, when I have flow, heat has to go through sea floor first before go to water above sea floor. There's a formula for that calculation. There's an estimation of heat transfer coefficient based on thermal conductivity of soil. It's just another empirical correlation, okay? Another empirical correlation so that you get H soil, okay? Instead of HO or something. So for soil, you get H soil. And then the value will be 1 over HIRI, 1 over HORO, plus this term, which is the conduction through the soil, plus that which is conduction through the pipe. Okay, this is soil part. How do I know thermal conductivity of soil? It's from the table, and it depends how much water content. Let's take a look at the formula first. The formula says H soil is K soil over blah 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 or something. COSH. Daniel, what is COSH? Your calculator have that? It could be in the exam, you know, maybe next year. So there's a hyperbolic cosine. Or you can do this part. For f greater than 1, we can estimate it like this. If we bury it more than half diameter, we can use this formula to calculate H soil. Okay, that's the formula to calculate H soil. So it depends on how deep we bury the pipe. If we bury the pipe a lot, so heat transfer is some kind of less and less. So we equivalent to insulate it well. What about thermal conductivity of soil or the earth crust? Where does that come from? I have to open some table. This from this literature, Gregory 1991. Peat, dry peat, wet, icy, sand soil, sandy soil, moist, soaked, dry, moist, wet, frozen, gravel, sandy, limestone, sandstone. We have the value. BTU, something. Okay. So it can be sand soil, soaked, 2 watt per meter per Kelvin. Okay. So it depends on what type of soil. This is a soil around the pipeline. But what if it is a soil in the subsea? So I have to ask myself where I am at. And what is the moisture content in percentage? Do we have 200% moisture content? This means we have more water than soil. In subsea, it's just dirt, right? Layer, and we have a lot of water in it. It depends if we are in Gulf of Mexico, Indonesia, or Nigeria. Okay, we need the data. But it will tell you at most, it will be maybe 1.05. At least it is 0.8. So this one maybe 1.05 and 0.8. Okay, next to Daniel. Steven, which number are you going to use to have the most conservative calculation? Most conservative means we assume as much heat loss as possible. Are you going to use 1.05 or 0.8? Low thermal conductivity, this means not much heat transfer, but you want to assume as much heat loss as possible. 1.05. Okay? So if you don't try to be very accurate, we don't even know how much is the moisture in the soil, right? We don't know. Are you going to jump, go into the subsea, take the oil sample up, do the measurement or something? We don't know. You don't do that, right? Just use 1.05. That's the most conservative thing. Or maybe just 0.8 or show two cases. Maybe the value doesn't do any much of a difference. Okay, you get my point? Just take some value, a reasonable value. Alright, and then we can calculate it. Here's a calculation example. Every property is given. I use Excel sheet to calculate it. So this one is air. Okay. I have pipeline, 2-inch, schedule 80, carbon steel, flow rate of 1,000 barrels per day, oil density is that much, inlet temperature that much, viscosity that much, thermal conductivity, oil CP is that much, specific heat capacity. Pipe length is 4 miles. Pipe is not buried, no insulation, and we have wind speed. It's onshore, okay? 20 miles per hour. Ambient temperature is 35. I do everything and get Reynolds number, roughness, do everything, calculate Nusselt number. You see, I calculate Nusselt number from Kanadinsky, detachable auto, get Nusselt number, everything done. Calculate U value, add everything together, get the function, and eventually I show the plot. Okay? It's very long. Okay? But in the homework, you know what to do. You have to go through the Excel sheet and do it. Good, the Excel sheet is given. So most of the time, onshore, let's skip this discussion, okay? Because if you have the change of fluid property with these tanks, you may have to do iteration, okay? Let's talk about this. Maybe more important. That temperature calculation, it will be very handy for subsea pipeline. But if you are in level land, okay, in Lubbock, West Texas or something, you may think, how much do I have to bury the pipe? What is the depth? Number one, we have something called frost line, okay, or freezing depth, below which no freezing occur. So in Lubbock is maybe 20 inch, between 20 and 10 inch. Okay. If your pipe is below 20 inches, you have no freezing. No need for temperature calculation. Okay. So if you are in over here, Michigan, maybe it's 50 something, 50 inch. That's the depth, right? Okay. So you don't want any water to freeze. So you have to make sure that you are below the frost line. I think the new slide I fixed that to be 42. Is it 42 in your new version? I correct this and I upload another one. Plow depth. Level land. You will vary the 42 to 48 inches. Okay. So that when other people grow cotton and they dig the hole, plow the soil, it doesn't hit the pipeline. Okay. No calculation. Okay, very easy, but you need to do that. Does it make sense to you? It doesn't have any calculation. They will dig that much. If you don't do anything, it will hit the pipe. It break the pipe. You have to below that line. Good? You don't like this idea, do you? There's no calculation. 42 depth, 42 inches is a recommendation. So that is at least in level land. Okay, I get this number from Mr. Kasani. And the temperature will be about constant 60 something. Okay? All the time. Every day. Whole year round. Good? Alright. Let's talk about that we call plow depth. Check about plow depth too. So in this slide, you learn about how to calculate temperature profile, how to calculate Nusselt number, H inside, outside, okay? And that can be used for Subsea pipeline and also for the homework, okay? Homework is not that long, it's required you to change something in Excel. Let's talk about the flow assurance, okay? We won't have time, we will finish everything about flow assurance next time, okay? But for now, let's talk about wax. Wax deposition. So wax deposit is this one. So what happens when we have something deposit in the pipeline? We have more pressure drop. Okay. If we assume that we flow the same flow rate, what happens to pressure drop? Pressure drop go up, right? Yes. So in your quiz, who don't have quiz? Everyone have quiz? Okay. Quiz 9, write your name, our number. We do it together, okay? Write the calculation procedure to determine the wax deposit thickness when pressure drop increase by 10%. So if pressure drop go up by 10%, what is the thickness of the pipe? What is the calculation procedure? What do you think? I use the method, I call it pressure drop ratio. Okay, pressure drop ratio. You will have to write something. Pressure drop ratio look like this. So minus the PDL. This is frictional term, right? Equal to 2F rho V squared over D. And that F is fanning. Oh. Let's move on. 2F rho V square over D, and that F is fanning. So pressure drop ratio is this thing divided by that pressure drop. So I get the ratio of pressure drop per unit length, just frictional term. So the top part is N. Subscript N means no deposition. Okay. No deposition. That's the top part. The bottom part is with deposition. Okay. So what happened is no deposition, I get 100% pressure drop. With deposition, I get 110% pressure drop, right? So the ratio is 100 over 110. Make sense? So that's a ratio of pressure drop per unit length. When people say, hey, my pressure drop go up by 10%. Something stick in the pipe, how thick it is. Okay. So 2, okay, let me copy everything over there. 2 cancel with 2, right? Density should cancel with density. Now you have F V square over D. V is flow rate divided by cross-section area, or pi d square over 4, but over 4 will cancel the bottom part. You get the idea? So you have this. It's pi d square over 4, but over 4 at the top and at the bottom you cancel each other. Look at this F. F is fanning friction factor. If it is turbulent flow, we can get it from Harlan equation or Colebrook equation, right? Q, volumetric flow rate, in situ volumetric flow rate, we say it is constant. Okay? Pi, of course, pi cancel with pi. Okay, that pi cancel with pi. D at the top is D sub n. Okay, D with no deposition. D at the bottom is D with deposition. Okay, so what do I do? All right. So if I have full calculation, I want full calculation. What do? I say maybe I use Harlan equation. Where's my Harlan equation? Harlan equation, this one. Okay. So there's a Harlan equation for F value. Okay. Left hand side, there's only one variable, so I can rearrange it, right? And right hand side, there's everything, so I can rearrange it. So this thing to the power of what? Minus 2, right? And everything multiplied by 0.25. So this part multiplied by minus 2 will give me 4F multiplied by 0.25, 4 is gone. So friction factor is this whole term, right? Reynolds number is rho VD over mu. Okay. So if I have this whole thing substitute over there based on D sub n, okay, diameter with no deposition, and I also have this whole term substitute over there based on new diameter, then I have one equation, one unknown, right? Everything is known except diameter with deposit. So D sub n is no deposit, right? So everything is known. I use Subsea to find it. So what you got the idea? You don't need to know everything, or you don't even need to know analytical formula, but you have to be able to do to the point where you can use Subsea. So what do we write in the quiz is, of course, you write that line. You write that line. And you say, fanning friction factor can be calculated from this. Then, we can use Subsea. F on the top will be F sub n, but on the bottom is a new F. So we use Subsea to find a new diameter. This makes this equation satisfied. So it's one equation, one unknown. The only unknown is the pipe diameter after we have the position. So once we calculate D, how much is deposit thickness? We know that D equal to D sub n minus 2 multiplied by deposit thickness. Good? So I have the pipe, it has deposit thickness of 1 inch. The new diameter will be that diameter minus 2 inch, right? Because it deposits on both sides. So from this equation, we know new diameter, then we can get deposit thickness. So I know that most of you get a job in Midland, right? But let's say someone go to Houston, you see the pressure profile that they monitor. Hey, my pressure drop go up. I think that's a wax. Do we do picking? You say, okay, let me calculate how much is the deposit thickness. You use this method, and you can estimate with some reason. Say, okay, the thickness is about this much. Very good, right? Yeah. All right, let's go, come, and submit it in the front, this table, and then you can go. All right? Thank you. Bye-bye.